Mike Clay had some things to say about the units in football. And what we've done, we've broken it down to the one that he thinks is the best in all of football in the NFL, and then where do the Browns stand and where do the other division members stand as far as that's concerned. I think you're going to be surprised. He's got some pretty good things to say about the Cleveland Browns. So Mike Clay of ESPN takes a look at the quarterbacks. Let's take a look. Patrick Mahomes, of course, number one. He's got the basis is 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he's got the Ravens in third place, Steelers in 10th place, the Browns at 19th. So what he's basically saying is that Baker-Mayfield is just above the average. So it's not that bad as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, I would like to think that based on what we saw in the tail end of his rookie year, that if this same ranking is done at the end of the season, he'll be higher than 19. Now, I'm not saying he's a top 10 guy. I don't mean that, but I think he'll be a little higher than 19. I think he's going to have, obviously, a better year. It wouldn't take that much.
Right. I would have thought that he'd be in the mid-20s based on the way everybody's talking about him. 216.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that he was, that he was like next to last in quarterback rating last year.
Sure.
You know, that ranking is probably pretty generous.
Any surprise that he's got Lamar Jackson as number 3 in the NFL, and Roethlisberger, if he comes back, he's got him as still number 10?
No, I think that's fair in both cases. I think Lamar Jackson really showed that jump that we all thought Mayfield and others would take between their first and second year. We really saw him.
Right. Well, they also still have Andy Dalton as the quarterback for the Bengals, so he's basing it on last year, and Joe Burrow, of course, undoubtedly will be the number 1 pick by the Bengals. Do you see any chance that somebody's would load up a package, and Miami's got a zillion first-round picks? Any chance that somebody's going to try to see if Cincinnati can that Burrow can be taken away from Cincinnati?
I don't think so. I mean, this owner down there isn't dumb. He's cheap, but he isn't dumb, and I think he's a very conservative guy who I think understands the importance of having a quarterback. I would be really surprised if he traded out of that.
All right, let's take a look at what Mike Clay of ESPN has to say about the running backs as a conglomerate there. You've got Christian McCaffrey as the number 1 guy, of course, from the Panthers. Then Nick Chubb right behind. This is on a 4-point basis, so 3.9 behind the perfect 4. Joe Mixon at 3.3 is number 7 in the league. The Ravens, Mark Ingram Jr. at 1.9 at the 18th spot. And the Steelers with James Conner is number 25. So the Browns get the big grades from Mike Clay on that. Let's continue on. We'll take a look at what he has to say about wide receivers. He's got the Buccaneers at 4.0 with Godwin and Evans. And, of course, he's got Tom Brady to throw to them. You got Odell Beckham and Jarvis-Landry, assuming they're healthy. Got them at 3.6, who's 4th best in the league. A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd for the Bengals, number 7. Steelers, of course, with Smith-Schuster and Washington, and the Ravens all the way at the bottom at number 32. And that it's interesting because they've got the quarterback at number 3 and the wide receivers at number 32.
Yeah, that seems awfully low for the Ravens. They were a really good team last year without great wide receivers.
Well,
it's hard for me to. Yeah, I know the defense was really good, and so was the quarterback. But it's hard for me to believe that they're not going to beef up that position before the year. But I could see why he'd have them certainly in the bottom third of the league.
All right, he continues on. He goes. Let's see what he says about the tight ends. Of course, the Browns just added Austin Hooper. Zach Ertz is number 1 from the Eagles, and then the AFC North goes with the Ravens in the 5th spot with Mark Andrews. 8th spot goes to Austin Hooper, despite the fact he's the highest paid tight end. Vance McDonald of the Steelers is number 21, and the Bengals, their guy is at a 0.6, and that's the 28th spot in the positioning from Mike Clay of ESPN. Just because Hooper is the highest paid guy, that doesn't mean he's the best. It means that the better guys might have been signed already for less money, and Hooper just becomes a recipient of right place and right time.
Yeah, I think this is an opportunity for him, though, to really flourish with the coverage that both Landry and Beckham are going to command on the outside. And I wonder, Les, is he taking into account these positions as groups? Like,
Yeah.
is Austin Hooper listed, but he's also taking into account Njoku, that position?
Yeah, that's my understanding. So
yeah, so I think I can see where they'd be a top 10 because I think Njoku is still an immensely talented guy, whether we see all that this year or not.
And one of the guys that will benefit by the coaching change, I would think. So this might be his last chance to do that. Mike Clay of ESPN continues on. He takes a look at the offensive line. This might surprise you. He's got the Eagles as the best offensive line, Ravens the best in the division, right along with the Steelers. And the Browns, 15 is the break-even point, so they're just under that, and the Bengals at 31. So that's how he ranks it. So the Browns, that's not too bad. We point out to certain areas you'd like to improve, and the offensive line is it. But if you consider they have a great running game, and according to this ranking, very good wide receivers, I'd say 14 is not a terrible choice for the Browns to be sitting in.
Yeah, and until they answer that question at left tackle, I think that's a fair ranking. And once they do answer that, I suspect that they'll be ranked, somewhere in the second five. Whether it's 6 or 9, I don't know, but they'll be up there significantly when they do that.
Well, next week I expect the Bud Shaw rankings to be in to see how that plays out. All right, Mike Clay looks at the total offense, and might have been, last year I think more people were sold on the Browns offense, but this year you got New Orleans Saints as the number 1, the Baltimore-Ravens at 7. Again, that's total offense, and that's with the 32nd ranking in the wide receiver department. He's got the Browns at number 10. I think last year probably would have been in the 6th or 7th hole. Pittsburgh at 12, and that, of course, all depended on whether Roethlisberger is back. I mean, if you don't have Roethlisberger, I think you go from about 12 to 25, right?
Yeah, I think you're in Bengals territory at that point.